As long as Taylor Swift's on there.
I don't know what's going on.
We'll call the meeting to order tonight for January 27th, 2025. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting? Amanda did put some changes in.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Cale, seconded by Justin. All approved or all in favor? Cale and Justin. Okay. Sheriff's report. There's a couple things out there on the link as far as what was done in the last 3 months, December, November, and October, if anyone wants to look at it. Lauren said Cody will not be here tonight. Anybody else have anything on Sheriff? New business. We got a building permit, 607 South Benton for a covered porch. Dan, you good with it?
It's already built. I had to go tell him to get a permit after the fact.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it looks fine.
Need to approve that.
Move.
Moved by Justin. Second by Bud. All in favor? Passed. Chicken permit for Jenna LaBarge. It's a renewal.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Bud. Second by Justin. All in favor? Pass. U.S. Highway 36 membership renewal.
So on this one, the city has normally done the silver membership. Just wanted to confirm you guys wanted to do the same membership status.
Might as well keep it the same, yeah?
Yeah, I think it covers enough of the advertising stuff for us.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Second.
Moved by Cale, second by Justin. To keep it at the same silver price. All in favor? Pass.
Did you want to do the G-Works?
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me out on that because I'm not real sure where we're at on the G-Works.
Okay, so we got an email today from G-Works in regards to our membership and our software. We've already paid for the membership and the annual fees for 2025 in the amount of $1,781. They have now added a line item of $600 to be able to access the software that we currently already have access to as a read-only file once they go to the cloud. They don't anticipate going to the cloud until 2026, but they are wanting to do onboarding, I guess, later on this year, and it would be prorated. They say we won't be able to access our history, our archive files, without purchasing the read-only license.
That's something you could look into. Do we have a contract with them?
Yes.
That's
Yeah, it's our annual subscription and maintenance fees. That's
Is that
our
something
our
Lauren
contract.
could look into the contract and see if there's any exclusions or something?
I can look into the contract. I don't have the contract
Yeah. I can get it.
currently, but Leanne can get it to me. I can look into it by the next meeting.
Let's do that. Hate to pay the extra money if there's
Are
some,
they saying if we don't pay this, then we can't look at our
you can't look
history?
at your old
Correct.
stuff.
Ever.
No, but now for what we have contracted right now, we can still get
Yes.
everything until our contract is up.
We can still access anything and everything until they move to online. Once they move to online, they are only going to allow us to look back from 2024 and forward. So anything prior to 2024, we won't have access
But we
to.
can currently get access to it,
Yes,
and they're not moving to online.
not until.
So there would be no reason that we could not download everything previously onto a very large gigabyte hard drive, and then we would have access of it.
We wouldn't be able to access it because the program, we would not have the program to be able to open it.
We can't open it and save it as a PDF file, and then download and then save the PDF file to a hard drive.
That
You
would
can
be
click
great.
print, and instead of print to a printer, print to PDF.
And that's what I had already thought about doing.
Okay.
For all of the ones that are on their system currently. It's just, to me, they're holding our files
So
Hostage.
hostage.
how far back are you talking?
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't-
What files are we talking about?
Municipal
Court.
court stuff.
Oh,
But it
court
also,
stuff.
note to
Gotcha.
them that CIC also has a court module.
Right.
It's not
and-
gonna cost us anything to get a quote from them, maybe we move to CIC. I think that'd be easier for Leanne anyways, it's a more modern program.
Right.
Does CIC have all of the records that we'd need?
Well, if we got on this quickly, I think they would be able to do a conversion if it's not expensive.
Yeah.
So that's what we talked about today
Yeah,
briefly.
that was one of our other options, was to check into CIC about their module,
I think it's definitely worth checking into.
because, I mean, we use them for everything else.
Do you want to get me the contract so I can look into it, and then you can also talk to CIC?
Okay.
Because there may be something in the contract that it renders it a moot point either way, but I won't know until I read it.
Okay. Old business. Looks like we can't do anything with the Bitcoin.
No, but Danielle did send in her email that she does know that the treasury notes right now are doing really well. They have a very high interest rate. Those are somewhat different than CDs, but along the same lines.
When's our CDs up?
Two
March?
of them should be in March, and one should be in May, I think.
I wouldn't hurt to look into the treasurers.
See what the rates are.
And the terms.
True. There's a letter out there on the link if you guys want to look at the reasoning behind the Bitcoins. Property cleanup. Anything?
I need to get out and get pictures. I know there's a few out there.
Projects pending.
Tables and streets.
Yeah, we'll.
Waiting on when for the next.
Justin and Amanda and I met on street stuff and kind of prioritize things as far as what we think we want to do. But I think it's important that we get Dan involved, and then we'll have to get Miller and Associates involved to see what the feasibility is of what we're looking at. And I think until I do that, I don't want to push things too much at this point until we have a chance to talk to Dan and to Miller and Associates, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I mean, we're looking at some redos on some streets. We're looking at some chip seal and stuff. We've got to get an idea from Miller and Associates what kind of money we're going to be up against. So that's what we're working on. No visitors theater report.
So the theater has not met since since the first of the month, but Robert Grace did meet with Chris Olson from CCDC in regards to possible grants to help them with their the theater remodel. Certain grants that are out there right now, I put out there for the USDA that can actually help them do the upgrades to their sound system, could help them do the electrical. They are done as part of, they would fill out each grant separately for different portions of the project that are necessary or that they're wanting to do. They don't have to write the grant for the full overall renovation.
Can you break it down?
Yeah, they can break it down to phases, to areas, to items. So that is out there. They are in communication. They came in, they met here. They are now in communication to decide how they would like to. Robert said that he would look into them and then propose them at the next theater meeting, or let them know about it and then come here to council to see about getting the approval from council to fill in the grants. Or
Is there a time frame on it?
I believe one of them opens in March, but I didn't get all that information. I figured that would be Robert needed to know that.
So this is strictly USDA.
The ones that I had that Chris brought me.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
I believe that is it on theater. what I have.
Superintendent report?
Okay, Ward has went home for now. We're done. What we could get done,
Okay.
and they needed to go because they've got a lot of stuff to do. So, I'll go through and see what else we need to do next and start getting prices on poles and all that stuff.
Do we still have to pay the amount of money from the transfers?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have to have transfers done by next meeting? Okay.
Yeah, they need to get done.
And then we can square, is that enough time to square everything up? Okay.
I did go out with some of the ward guys that they've got a lot of experience and stuff. And we liked them. They think a lot of conductor and pole change outs would be good. They thought we'd waste a lot of money getting an engineer in here to do what we basically know we need. So
So you think that's the next scope of the project?
yeah, we'll go through and see what we need for poles and maybe transformers and stuff, and I'll get pricing. We'll try to move forward. Pass it around.
Oh, I guess it's taped on and passed around.
So we're trying to get the recycling back up to what it's supposed to be. We got this email today. This is everything ABC Recycling does. And right now, the cardboard chipboard, the only one on top is what we take currently. The green is what they want to take. And I'm kind of excluding the books because I know what's going to happen if we say we'll take softbound books. We're going to end up with every book in the bin. And then the stuff down below, all the feed tubs and stuff, I don't think we want to mess with that a whole lot.
I'm sorry, as a point of clarification, the red is what we currently take and the green is what they're wanting to take. Is
Correct.
the red included in the green? Or they will not take cardboard and chip?
No, they'll still take it.
Okay.
Yes.
I-
I'm just
sorry.
saying that's what we currently take, and this is the extra we're
So
adding on.
this would be an addition,
Yeah.
not in lieu of.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I know Kevin was up there this morning working on getting it set up, so
What'd you decide to do? Move stuff,
we're just
condense everything?
Yeah, we're just trying to keep the cardboard, move it to the front for now. We just hauled out a truckload of cardboard too, so we only have like
So you're gonna push everybody to push people to the back to dump their stuff? Is that what you're
probably
thinking?
like we did before.
Well, I think it's a good idea to get it, if we can get it going again, and they'll take it.
They'll
I
take
agree
it.
with you on the books.
It's just a matter of whether we're gonna eventually get stuff to where we can haul it to them, which is what I believe Bird City's doing now.
I thought you said they'd
Or
pick it
they'll
up.
come get it, but then they're gonna take money out of our cardboard fund, which is fine. It would just be a matter of we're on their time schedule if they come get it, so, versus us taking it, so. We'll just have to see how it works. for
Where
a
does
while.
this go?
North Platte.
North Platte?
Everything with the cardboard. Cardboard, they'll bring a truck in and take it to Oklahoma.
Cardboard goes to Oklahoma? What are you thinking as your time frame to put the rest of it out?
Oh, we can start taking stuff by next week.
Next week?
Not sooner.
Right. So do we need to put an advertisement in the paper?
Or we can get it on Facebook.
Facebook?
From there, yeah.
Okay. Everybody good with that? You don't see any complications with any of this other stuff? It's no different than we were doing before? Other than
Not
the
really.
books?
And the electronic stuff, I think the dump does that. So we wouldn't have to get involved with that necessarily. We could if we wanted to.
Okay. Go for it.
So we ordered 12 meter tops today. They went up in price. They're $115 each. So it's gonna be about $1,380. We're going through 12 in about 3 months for some reason right now. So. On the water certification stuff that we've been talking about, I would attempt to go take the test if you guys want me to. We'll have to go in March to the conference.
Is there anyone else that can go with you?
Well, John has to go get his hours. And then the only other one I think we would have would be DJ, because you have to work there at least a year.
Would he do it?
I can talk to him. I mean, he's kind of doing some of the stuff now. Anyway, so.
Don't we have to have two people, sir?
Well, you gotta have one. That's why, as long as if we can get it done before John's gone, then we won't have a lapse anymore.
Well, that's assuming
Yeah.
June, July, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know when he keeps talking about retirement. I don't know when for sure.
Well, my take is if you're okay with it, I think just to buy some time would be a good idea. If you did try to take it.
Well, if I get it, I don't have to worry about hiring a operator. But again, that'll be your guys' problem after I'm gone.
Thanks.
Hey, looking out for myself here.
You said March?
Yeah. Which brings me to the next question. The water conference is in March, and I'd like to take it. We're gonna have to take at least 2 guys, possibly 3. And it's about $280 a guy to register, and then it'd be rooms and.
What are you all thinking about that?
Huh?
You all thinking?
Me and John and probably DJ for now. I mean, down the road, we're a small enough city, it probably wouldn't hurt to have everybody try to get certified eventually. But I know a lot of smaller cities do that rather than counting on 1 guy or 2 guys.
Yeah.
Where's the testing in reference to the conference? Time frame.
It will be, we'll actually have to stay an extra night.
That's
It'll
it.
be that Thursday afternoon. The conference gets over at noon and they do the testing that afternoon.
Oh,
But I don't think I can take both tests. I'll have to do 1 test now and then look at finding another place to do, like wastewater later.
any objections or other thoughts, guys? Okay.
While we're on the water conference, I guess we need to change the delegate. We had Justin and me. So we need me and probably, well, we could do John for 6 or 8 months, or we could do DJ or.
I think kind of investing in somebody other than John if he's going to retire.
And the delegate part's just somebody to go to the meeting if you remember that it's going on, which I usually don't. But I try to get to them. That's for the yearly meetings and stuff. We can put DJ in there
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and then see what happens down
Unless he
the road.
knows exactly when he's going to retire.
Yeah,
6 months, a year, 2 years?
exactly. I don't know.
Okay.
And the only other thing, so do we need a motion to do the delegates or no? Okay. The only thing I had is I did call that Aaron Brown today, and he is still gonna come get the grass pile, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. That's all I got.
Are there any chances of street sweeper run this week
Maybe.
on Washington by chance? Okay.
Everywhere except that one block.
Yeah, just that block at the end.
I'll see what we can do.
You want to bring up about the polls
Pull.
at the
That's
equity?
the co-op.
Yeah.
Well, just one got hit by a truck. I've got all, had comes to an accident report, so we have all the information we need. Just gotta see if we can find a pole now. I said last I knew there were, I don't remember, come up with somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 for one of them poles.
Is it one of the steel ones?
It's one of the pedestrian lights.
Oh.
One of the nice ones.
So we took the one out down at the co-op that was in the middle there because they kept running over it, so we just finally got rid of it. Now, how they got this one without taking out the
It
fire
almost looked
plug?
like you had to pull the fire plug and looked like barely missed both.
Yeah, well, I think he backed in there somehow when he went to turn out, he drug his tires against it.
I was gonna say, I
This
didn't-
was right on the corner by the car?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a light in a
I don't know
hole,
how I missed everything
light
else.
pole and a fire plug. Right on the corner.
Yeah, he said somebody pulled in there, so he backed up, and then when he pulled out, he caught as he was going out.
Since you created a report, will we have some recourse on it?
I hope. I mean, we'll talk to their insurance, or tell them to talk to their insurance company or whatever.
Okay.
I need to get a report from the sheriff's department. That reminds me. I'll do that.
Any other questions for Dan? I hear a motion to approve the superintendent report.
Sorry.
Moved by Kale, second by Bud. All in favor? Pass. Or approved. Attorney report.
We had a hearing on Friday the 10th regarding the vicious dogs which have been continually getting out, killing animals, and apparently chasing citizens down alleys. I had spoken with Amanda beforehand. We had, I think it was 12 signed witness affidavits and 9 witnesses that we called with photographic evidence, video footage. It was a fairly long, it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of hearing. I mean, it was substantial. I'd spoken with Amanda previously. I'd spoken with one of the witnesses who said they were calling shelters and trying to find somewhere that would take the dogs to try and rehabilitate them. We were not able to get in touch with the shelter, but we had the name. They said they needed the sheriffs to get in contact with them so they could discuss it and talk to the veterinarian. It was the opinion of Dr. Baxter that they may not be able to be rehabilitated. I had spoken with Amanda before the hearing, and she had authorized that the city to try and avoid just euthanizing the dogs. She would authorize Dr. Baxter to hold them for 1 week to see if the shelter would take them. And if by such time, as specified in the court order, they were not accepted, if we found out the shelter would not accept them, or if we hadn't heard back from the shelter by that time, they were to be euthanized. It turns out that there was another rescue in Colorado that was agreeable to taking them, provided that they were transported there. The city found a volunteer. I don't know whether it was Jen or Leanne who found the volunteer to drive. It was Leanne. She found a volunteer to drive the dogs. One of them, the more vicious one, was sedated for the transport while they were in that person's vehicle. They were brought to the rescue. There was a $250 per dog intake fee. My understanding is that Jen or Leanne spoke with Amanda to get the authorization for a $500 check to send the dogs there rather than euthanizing them, as we would have to pay for the euthanasia procedure anyways. Amanda authorized that, and so they did go down to Denver. They were taken in, and during their evaluations and during the time they were there, the male dog, who was still intact, was displaying signs of aggression and did need to be put down. There is hope that the female will be able to be rehabilitated and rehomed. So my understanding is that the fees for everything has been paid and that Jen needs authorization.
Yeah, I need you guys to motion for a $500 check that was paid out of cycle to the Humane Society of the Pikes Peak region.
Is that in Springs?
Yes.
Colorado Springs? So we need a motion to approve the $500 to the Humane Society.
Yes.
Does any of that come out of?
We will be asking for it for restitution
Yeah,
we'll be asking for it for restitution in the a case against the human. The hearing that was held on the 10th was exclusively the disposition of the dogs and what was going to happen to the dogs. Between the time that they had attacked an animal and chased one of the citizens of the city down an alleyway, and they had to run away from the dogs and go into their house to avoid being attacked. We set that for emergency hearing. There's 1 week notice time, but because the charges which were brought have a longer notice period requirement that was set for the January date, so the hearing on the 10th was exclusively the disposition of what was to happen to the dogs. And on January 31st at 1:30 will be the municipal court case for 2 of the citations which have been issued. There is still a third one, which I believe is set for February, because they were not able to serve notice by the date needed for the third one, because there were, I believe, 3 citations issued between, I think it was the 6th of November and the 3rd of January. There were 3 separate incidences with these 2 dogs, including, I guess, the cornering of a deputy and a resident. They, for want of a better term, had cornered them and kind of held them hostage until they were able to get out. Deputy Reed was involved in that incident, and we had his body cam footage as part of the hearing. The dogs had them cornered. He did draw his weapon. He did not want to fire at the dogs, and he also did not want to fire in city limits. But they did a couple false charges where they came forward, and he and the citizen yelled to get back, and the dogs did appear to get back. So the dogs, obviously nothing occurred on that date, but that's just what the disposition of the case was. We will be asking for very significant penalties in these cases, as well as restitution of the cost of the intake of the dogs, as well as the time that they were boarded up with Judy and Dr. Baxter, and any accompanying health care that was given. I don't know what there was. It's just the first appearance on Friday, but I will speak with her before the actual hearing and find out what that is, and we will ask for the fines plus the court costs plus anything that was paid by the city for restitution.
Okay.
So moved by Kale, second by Bud. All in favor? Approved.
There are fines and fee schedules out there on the drive for what other cities do. We cannot charge different rates for commercial vehicles or a certain weight of vehicle. Whatever we set the fee as is what we set the fee as. That was asked not less, but the last time I was here, and we cannot charge different rates. There's no authority for that.
Is that strictly for like speeding, or as far as the rates?
If you were to set a rate as far as speeding, I don't know that we would be handling anything like a DUI or. There is a difference in provision that there is no diversion agreement allowed for a commercial vehicle. If they receive a citation, they either have to litigate it and find some way to get it overturned. If they're able to do so, they have to hire an attorney. I guess if they cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for them. I've never seen that be the case for a commercial trucker. They can usually afford their own attorney, but they are not entitled to a diversion agreement. So whereas a lot of the speeding tickets, at least that we have in Bird City, will call in and request a diversion, and we say, okay, here's an additional fee for the diversion agreement, and then you have to pay the fine plus the court costs. And if it happens again, then there is no diversion agreement allowed for anyone who holds a CDL, regardless of whether they were driving a commercial vehicle or an overweight vehicle at the time. If they are in a personal vehicle and they have a CDL and they receive a citation, as long as that license is a CDL, they are not entitled to a diversion.
Okay.
And that's that's Kansas state statute, which prohibits diversion agreements for anyone who has a CDL.
What's everybody think? You want to look this over and talk about it again at the next meeting?
Yep.
See if we can nail something down? Okay, let's table that.
Oh, we used to have fines. Ours are there. Atwoods are there. Goodlands are there. I believe I had submitted Bird Cities previously, so you should have what St. Francis's used to be, and then the surrounding cities in Kansas.
Which one? I'm sorry. Which one's St. Francis?
The one that's yellow and green, the Excel sheet.
STO.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the court costs, I believe, have gone up from the STO to 70 from 50. This was before I was city attorney. This was back when Mike.
This was what was still when Lila handed it to me.
Right, but I don't know that this was in place. I don't know if this had gone out of. This was never, at the point that I came on, this was never part of that whenever they wrote a citation, I don't know if that was with the LEO, with the law enforcement agreement. I don't know if that was what precipitated this, but this has never been used while I have been city attorney, which started in January 1 of 2020. And I don't know if you may want to take a look at this and increase those fees. I would think that since they are older, and I do know that the STO, as of at least 2021, went up to $70 for traffic. So I do know that has been increased.
Is this something that the sheriff's deputies would have to do right on the spot, or is this actually when it goes to court?
That would be preferred that the sheriff's deputies. The way that it's handled in Bird City is that Bird City has a fine schedule. This is the court cost. This is if you're 1 through 5 miles over this, or 1 through 4, it's this. 5 through 9, it's this.
Right.
And then only if it's 20 or over does it become see judge. And so a lot of times what happens, because it's just written right there, $70 court cost, $50 speeding ticket, a lot of people will just pay it. But the way that the sheriff's office has been doing it for St. Francis, we stopped doing anything traffic because every single time there was anything, they wrote see judge on the ticket. And then they would have to come to court, and the judge would come to court, and I would come to court, and we'd have to come to, and it was usually in the ballpark of what it would be if they just wrote it on the ticket. But then.
So my question is, with the current STO fine schedule, would the deputies have to know right on the spot, let's say somebody had a defective tail lamp. Would they have to know right on the spot what that fine is?
They would receive a copy. So what they have is they have a copy of Bird City's fine schedule, and I don't know whether they carry it in their vehicle with them or if they have it electronically and can pull it up on their phone. But every time they write a citation in Bird City that's not an ordinance violation that has to go to court, they write what the fine is in accordance with the fine schedule and the court costs associated therewith. And the people have the option of just doing that, or they can call in if they don't have a CDL and they can say, is there any chance I can get a diversion for this? And then without it having to go to court, I can send them, here's the diversion agreement. You have to pay an additional, I think it's $50 for the diversion. And here's what the fee is, and then it doesn't get reported, as long as you don't have another citation within 6 months. And so, there are probably 25 to 30 speeding tickets a year over in Bird City, and I've never gone to court over any one that hasn't been a CDL, of which there have only been 2 in the entire time that I was there.
It's eliminated the problem.
It has. It hasn't eliminated the speeding, but it's eliminated the me going to court over it.
I think I'd agree with that if we just change our fines, probably.
And then we just have to give the sheriff's department and have them implement them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can, there's a range, it shall be not less than and not more than. So as long as it falls within that range, but that range is in the STO, and it's here in the City Hall, and it's.
Anything we can do to simplify it, I think. I agree with that.
I think if you just pick, and I really think if you just pick what the fine is going to be, we need to make sure that the court costs for anything that is not traffic is usually 158. Anything that was traffic that was previously coming was 70, because that is set by the STO. And since we adopt the STO, we have to follow what their court fines are if we're adopting the STO. But I know that back when we were having this, because we had the same defendant like 4 months in a row because they kept driving without a valid license, without tags, and without insurance, and they were cited out in the county, and they had he had the same charges like 3 times in district court and 4 times in municipal court, like within the course of 3 months, because they just kept driving on an untagged vehicle without insurance while their license was suspended. And it just kept being see judge, see judge, see judge. And I don't know if it's something like that, if maybe we want to tell them, at the point that there are cases out in the county, rather than having it come to municipal court, just combine them and send them over there, because, or if you want to say, no, this is what it is, but this individual did qualify for court-appointed counsel. And so they did come in, have counsel appointed at the cost to the city.
Yeah.
So I guess that's up to the council how they want to handle it. But we did have a fine schedule. I guess I would suggest serious traffic offenses go through district. Reckless driving under the influence. We really don't.
Sure.
I don't know that we're going to recoup what we would need to do, and we don't have the municipal court is not a court of record, other than, there's no record of it. It's not a court of record. What happens, like if you're convicted of a misdemeanor, and it is a misdemeanor, it does get reported. And if you're speeding, it does get reported. But it does not have the teeth that a district court does. And so what I would say for reckless driving, reckless endangerment, aggravated assault with a motor vehicle. We've never had a case, so I don't know exactly what the statute number is. But I would think anything serious, DUIs, DWIs.
So what's happening now with, like, if somebody gets a traffic ticket in town?
I don't know that they're doing anything in town. I think if they're running radar out on the highway, it's going to district court.
Right.
If they're running radar within the city limits, which they usually sit by the dog park and the dog park in the old church, and they run radar there. And if there's a speeding citation, then it goes to district court if it's in the city limits of the city of St. Francis, where they sit at the co-op in Bird City, and it goes to Bird City Municipal Court because Bird City has a fine schedule, and they've decided that that's the way they want to handle it.
Okay.
So right now, I don't know how much traffic enforcement is going on from 4th Street north to North Street.
Yeah.
I do know that traffic enforcement is going on 36, which in the part within city limits still, and that it is currently going over to district court. But we could be having that here if we had a fine schedule.
Yeah.
We could be having those court costs, we could be having those fees in the event of a diversion agreement, we could be having the diversion.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it, to everybody?
Yeah.
So I guess I would just suggest, if the council wants to do it, come back with proposed amounts. If you want to do first and second, that's fine. If you set them, what I will do is once if you guys come back and discuss, I don't know if you want to submit what you guys think it should be, or if you just want to discuss as we go down the list at the next meeting, that would be fine with me as well. I will just go through and take what you guys want, and then I will just go to the STO and make sure that it is within that range that is specified. I think it's a pretty broad range. Most of them are. The bigger ones that we used to get were like between not less than 200 and not more than 1,000. It was a pretty broad range.
Okay.
Obviously that's not speeding, but if you guys want to agree on what you think that should be, I will just go through it and make sure that nothing runs afoul of the STO, and then have it ready for adoption at the following council meeting.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Oh, yep. We had a lady who was found to be in violation of the property cleanup. She was found guilty in a property cleanup case, and she had a balance. I believe it's an outstanding balance of $1,708. She was paying $50 a month. It is delinquent by 9 months. The delinquent amount. This was back in November, so the delinquent amount now would be an additional $100. So it would be $550 that is delinquent. She passed away, and so we don't know that there's enough of an estate to go after, to try to go after that. The property was in this woman's name at the time that it went through court. Subsequently, she transferred it out of her name to her child, so she does not even have this in her estate anymore to go after. There's a possibility that we could look at this under the fraudulent transfers to avoid, but I just don't think that I don't think the expense that we would spend to try and go after $1,700 is going to, first of all, I don't think we're going to see the $1,700, and second of all, I think the amount that we're going to spend to go after it because of the steps we would have to take to get it from her estate is going to be more than the $1,700 we would get anyways.
The property cleaned up.
The property at one point was in compliance. The current owner is not residing on the property and it is deteriorating.
Okay, but not this person.
Not this person. This person is no longer the owner of the property. They transferred it to their child who was residing on the property, because if there was to be any other case.
So the option would be to go back and do this all over again, basically with the child.
Well, so we couldn't go after the fines that we already have. The only way to go after the fines that were cited, the only way to go after the fines that were already assessed would be to file a claim against this person's estate. I don't know that this person has enough of an estate to satisfy this to begin with, let alone, I don't think they have filed anything. The last I checked, they had not filed anything with the district court. So we would have the court filing fees, we would have a publication requirement, we would have the research of finding out the due diligence of who the remaining heirs at law are. We would have, I don't
think there's any justification to
I think we
pursue
need to
it.
just write this one off and watch the property and
Where is
see
the
if
property?
we need to.
It's 703 South Francis. My understanding is that the current owner is presently incarcerated and not going to be available for appearances in municipal court at any time in the near future or possibly even distant future.
So we need to clear this up and then go ahead and start, if the property needs cleaned up again, start.
If the
on that.
property needs cleaned up again, we're going to probably have to do it ourselves and assess it to the tax roll, and at some point it's going to go for tax sale because the individual who, like I said, the individual who is presently the owner is incarcerated, not in a local jail, but in a federal.
Is there any clauses with him being in jail that they could come back and say, well, you can't do anything until he gets out?
I mean, we would have to go through the proper notice procedure. I mean, we still have to give him his due process rights. There is no possible way that he is going to be able to do he barely did the cleanup when he had to do the cleanup. There is no possible way that it is
So
going
how do
to
we
be.
go about trying to get the house torn down, basically, right now?
What we would do, what is going to essentially happen, I cannot imagine it would not, is that it's going to go up for tax sale. I don't know how the individual who is presently the owner is going to be able to maintain current the taxes when they had to my knowledge, had very limited funds to begin with and currently are serving many years in a federal.
Sounds like a losing battle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just very good.
I would say if the city, as long as it's not creating a health hazard, such as rodents, vermin, breeding grounds, I think the city may want to just see if in the next, I cannot imagine that the taxes are current. I mean, I can check that with the treasurer, but I cannot imagine that in the next year or two it will not be up for tax sale.
My take is we just kind of sit on it for a while and see what happens with the property instead of spending any more money on it.
And I mean, I can just shoot an email over to the treasurer and say, are the taxes current on this property?
Yeah.
And if not, what years are owed and what is the amount?
Then we'd know.
Yeah.
Everybody good? Okay.
Are we clearing it?
What's that?
Are we clearing them?
I don't think
We need a motion if we're gonna
Yeah.
write that off.
Please.
In the amount of
and
$1,708.
how do you word it?
Does the city want to write off as uncollectible bad debt the current outstanding amount of the property cleanup case of Ms. Barnhart in the amount of $1,708 due to her
How do you know
passing?
it's not a safety or?
What?
How do we know it's not a safety or a hazard? Has anybody been in the house?
I mean, I don't know that as far as cleaning up the inside of the house, that's really
No,
not
I'm
the
just
city's
saying,
jurisdiction.
See if it's a safety concern or something,
Well, no, I mean, no one's in the house, so we can't, I mean,
right?
no one is presently in the house, so we can't really say that I don't know that we can say that it's a safety hazard. I think if it's noticed that vermin or bugs or other creatures, I mean, I think if it's becoming a ecological cesspool, for want of a better term, then the city can step in and do something, but I just don't know at the condition that it's in. The house, when it was at this point, was not condemnable. It was just subject to property cleanup because it was a blight. It was an eyesore and there was a bunch of mess around it. It did not rise to the level of an uninhabitable property as to be a danger or subject to the elements. I don't
think we're at that stage at
I
all.
don't think we're at that stage now. We certainly weren't then, and there has been improvement to the property. I use the word improvement loosely, but it is not presently, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, it is not presently in as bad of state as it was when we initiated the cleanup proceedings against the property. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Are the utilities still off or on?
I think they're off. The only thing we'd really, if there's any danger there of anything, it's the trees. All the trees are dead around it. But
So what's the total amount?
$1,708.
So we need a motion to write off the $1,708 on, what's the property address?
703 South Francis. Francis?
Because we won't be able to collect on it.
Uncollectible bad debt.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Bud, second by Kale, all in favor? Approved.
I have nothing else.
Tell me again, 703.
South Francis.
Any questions for Lauren? Need a motion to approve the attorney report?
Second.
Moved by Kale, second by Justin, all in favor? Pass. Treasury report. Nothing? Clerk report.
So out there, I have updated the CCMFOA spring conference information as per the request. I do apologize for that IIMC that was out there. That is one that we don't go to. I love the acronyms and forget half of the time what we go through. I did also put out there a budget worksheet of what all would basically be the grand total for the attendance of this. They put on classes within this conference that are used towards credits for the municipal clerk certification. That is in, so this would be my 4th year. So basically at the end of the classes that are normally in October, November, I graduate, and then there's 4 more classes, 4 more years for a different, it's like the bachelor of it. But after this year, I would have my clerk certification. So I put that out there if you guys would like to, because I made it with the early bird fee of the $3.25 after, I want to say it's after the 7th.
12:15, or 2:15 and on.
Is it?
2:15. Before Valentine's Day, it's $3.25. After Valentine's Day, it's $3.45.
Is that just to hold it?
So the registration, we would have to register before Valentine's Day of 12/14 to have the early bird special after.
2:14. Sorry, I said 12. That was my fault.
I was
Sorry.
just like, what are you talking about?
I'm already dreaming about Christmas.
But is that just a down payment to hold it?
That's
That's the total cost,
yeah, that's
correct?
the total cost.
The registration fee.
The registration fee for the classes for the conference, that's the total on that. It's either the $3.25 or the $3.45.
345.
Okay, then I'm not following
So
the
okay,
conference fees.
the conference fee is the first line item. The very first in the gray. That's the registration fee of the $3.25.
Okay,
So that's what would need to be for the early bird special. It's $3.45 if approved after or registered after Valentine's Day. And then I think it closes March 7th.
so it's that amount plus the daily fees.
Yes. So those daily fees, the $197.09, that is per night. That includes the taxes for the hotel. I put in there $15 for meals for lunch and dinner. I don't know.
Okay. Is there any real difference from last year?
No, not really.
Do you need a motion to approve it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Moved by Kale, second by Bud, all in favor? Passed. So you're gonna turn in before the 14th?
Yes. And then there is the third Friday memo out there, just because they send it to me and I love giving it to you guys. Next council meeting, I will have the information for Western Child Advocacy
Okay,
and for the food pantry.
okay, good, thank
Those
you.
two were requested. I have sent off and asked them for it. Dawn from Western got it over to me very late today,
Okay.
so I didn't get to upload it or even look at it to give.
That was
the
one of the things
information.
Amanda asked me to ask about.
Yes, and I did get with Zona. She is getting with her board to get all the financial reviews for you guys.
Good.
So there's that. And then out there, I know that I still have the Northwest Kansas Planning and Development letter. It wanted, this is one of those renewals that we do this year. It was for $3,400. We already approved it with the January vouchers. I just wanted to put it out there for you guys so that you guys could read what all they've been doing in the past in 2024, and to let you guys know that it only increased $42 from the previous year.
Okay,
And we did get the 2025 Emergency Response Exercise Plan, if anybody is interested, and that's the last thing that I have. I tried giving it to Dan.
Dan was having none of it.
Nope.
Dan's still having none of it.
Yep.
did Amanda say anything to you about the improvements for like PBC? As far as having 3 council on instead of 2?
Yes, and I told her that we were still looking into finding out when it changed, not from when the council amount changed, but like when they changed the April meeting date to the January meeting date. I'm trying to locate all of the documents in
Okay.
succession.
I will say though, until the ordinance is, until you guys decide if you're gonna do a new ordinance, and I mean, obviously Amanda's not here to do this,
Well,
we have to get the PBC to the right.
that's what I'm getting at. The ordinance hasn't been changed, has it?
No,
No,
So there's still 3 on.
no. They're supposed to be, but you guys did not. The last, in 2024 and 2025, the right combination of people that were appointed is not correct.
Because there should be 3.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we probably need to get that handled by the next meeting.
Do you know what we're talking about? You look, so,
no, I'm just wondering where we are with the codification.
but even at that, we would still have to probably do a new ordinance to change the composition of the PBC.
I get that, but I mean, right, but so.
No, I'm asked.
So the new, it needs to be whatever we want it to be
Right.
at the time that the new code gets codified. And so, I mean, we've had the breed repeal and we've had the increase to the connection fee for the water that have both been done by ordinance that I have drafted and then subsequently sent to him to update the code for when it goes into effect. The full code was sent to the council with the explanations of what these changes are, because from a legal standpoint they're fine, but I don't know from a code standpoint if the city wants it to read a different way or not.
So
And so
the issue is,
When did it change? When did it go to 2 instead of 3?
in 2024. The issue is, there's a little bit of confusion on whether 3 council people can serve on the Public Building Commission.
I don't think so, because that would be a quorum.
So I had a conversation with Gilmore and Bill.
And they have no,
None.
Okay.
There are councils that the entire council
Yeah.
is the Public Building Commission, where you have to be careful and transparent. Not careful, but you do need to be careful because you need to be transparent. Is those meetings?
how
need to
many
be
other people are
advertised.
how many other people are on that commission? Is
There,
it,
on our commission,
yes.
there are supposed to be 3 council people, 2 people from the St. Francis Rec Commission, and 2 members at large.
Okay, so they wouldn't constitute, so it wouldn't be the council members constituting the quorum of council members would not constitute a quorum of
No.
commission members, correct?
Right.
Okay.
So the bond attorneys have no problem with this.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. I guess I'm,
And as long as it's advertised, then there's transparency to the public.
right.
Because the public could come to those meetings. So that's where the issue is, and so, but then in their bylaws, they initially were gonna meet in April, and then that was not gonna work for the payments. Because
They had to
the
move- they
first
had to
payment
move it
is
up.
in March.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, like Leanne said, she needs to look through all the minutes for the past 7 years to see if they, because
Oh,
if
boy.
they changed it in their, well, they're like 1-page minutes and they meet.
But I don't remember ever, the reason I'm asking about it is I don't remember there ever being the change. If there was, I missed it.
It happened in the appointments, in the appointment list.
Okay.
Is what
That
happened.
answers my question. Okay.
Just with I just don't think it was realized that there was an ordinance that set it up. It's just been kind of a misunderstanding. The problem we don't want to run into is if they have a meeting and we don't have the right combination of people, they're the ones that approve me to make those payments, those bond payments for
Yeah.
the year, and we all just need to make sure it's done properly.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I got on that. Any other questions for Leanne?
Am I drafting something, or I guess I'm not sure where that lies then.
I think my opinion is, since it is a mayor appointment, we need to wait till Amanda's back
We need
to
to
see
wait
what
till-
she wants
yeah.
to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was at her request too.
Do you want me to send Amanda an email and see if she wants me to have something ready to go for the next meeting? No, okay.
I don't think so.
She just needs to decide whether to appoint or not.
Right, because if the council doesn't want to change it, they just need to reappoint the PBC and make the proper appointments.
Yeah. The only question I had was whether or not, and maybe I misunderstood her, whether or not there wasn't an ordinance change saying that we went to 2 instead of 3. What, right?
Correct.
Okay. I think we're good till next meeting. Any other questions for Leanne? Motion to approve the clerk's report. Moved by Justin. Second by Larry. All in favor? Pass. Council comments. Bud, you have anything? You already had yours? Cale, nothing? Justin?
Next meeting.
The one thing Amanda and I have been talking about, and we would like to do at the next meeting, is to have performance reviews, employee evaluation type things right after the meeting in closed executive session. Maybe 15 minutes for each, and it'd be Dan and Leanne and Jen, just to get feedback from the council and get feedback from each of you guys too. Everybody good with that? Okay.
Do I need to be there for that?
I don't think so.
You want an
Okay.
evaluation?
Huh?
Yeah.
You want an evaluation?
I think just council and the individual employee at the time. And we'll figure out who's gonna go first and who gets the last straw.
I just need to know because that's tax
No.
season. So I need to budget
No.
my time if I have to
No,
be
we're
here
good.
longer.
She requested only councilmen.
Perfect.
So
That sounds good to me.
I don't think, is there anything else we need to do tonight, guys? Okay. Guess we need a motion for adjournment. Cale? Second?
Yeah.
Second by Justin. All in favor? Pass. Thanks, guys.
Anything very much?